As soon as morning came, the chief priests with the elders and the scribes, that is, the whole Sanhedrin, held a council. They bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. Pilate questioned him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He said to him in reply, "You say so." The chief priests accused him of many things. Again Pilate questioned him, "Have you no answer? See how many things they accuse you of?" Jesus gave him no further answer, so that Pilate was amazed. Now on the occasion of the feast, he used to release to them one prisoner whom they requested. A man called Barabbas was then in prison, along with the rebels who had committed murder in a rebellion. The crowd came forward and began to ask him to do for them as he was accustomed. Pilate answered, "Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" For he knew that it was out of envy that the chief priests had handed him over. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have him release Barabbas for them instead. Pilate again said to them in reply, "Then what do you want me to do with the man you call the king of the Jews?" They shouted again, "Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Why? What evil has he done?" They only shouted louder, "Crucify him!" So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas to them, and after he had Jesus scourged, handed him over to be crucified. The soldiers led him away inside the palace, that is, the praetorium, and assembled the whole cohort. They clothed him in purple, and weaving a crown of thorns, placed it on him. They began to salute him with, "Hail, King of the Jews!" and kept striking his head with a reed and spitting upon him. They knelt before him in homage. And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of the purple cloak, dressed him in his own clothes, and led him out to crucify him. They pressed into service a passerby, Simon, a Cyrenian, who was coming in from the country, the father of Alexander and Rufus, to carry his cross. They brought him to the place of Golgotha, which is translated place of the skull. They gave him wine drugged with myrrh, but he did not take it. Then they crucified him and divided his garments by casting lots for them to see what each should take. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. The inscription of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." With him they crucified 2 revolutionaries, one on his right and one on his left. Those passing by reviled him, shaking their heads and saying, "Aha! You who would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself by coming down from the cross." Likewise, the chief priests with the scribes mocked him among themselves and said, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. Let the Christ, the King of Israel, come down now from the cross, that we may see and believe." Those who were crucified with him also kept abusing him. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And at 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani?" which is translated, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Some of the bystanders who heard it said, "Look, he is calling Elijah." One of them ran, soaked a sponge with wine, and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Wait, let us see if Elijah comes to take him down." Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last. The veil of the sanctuary was torn in 2 from top to bottom. When the centurion who stood facing him saw how he breathed his last, he said, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Or a lofty idea, but an encounter with an event, a person who gave his life for us, and decisive direction, and infinite horizon for all of us. This is one of the famous quotes of Pope Benedict. Being a Christian is not the result of an ethical choice or a lofty idea, but it's an encounter with an event. That is what we are commemorating these days. We already entered the entry of Jesus to Jerusalem, During his lifetime, he entered to Jerusalem many times. But this entry is something significant. From Mount Olive to the Jerusalem, 2 miles of journey. Normally people enter there by walk, by foot. But Jesus, from the previous Gospel, Mark chapter 8, Jesus was always reluctant to reveal that he is the King Messiah. But why Jesus, today's Gospel we heard, Jesus himself took an initiative and chose that called young donkey. Because in order to fulfill the words of Prophet Zechariah chapter 9 verse 9. So Jesus said, go and choose, you will see. And it's a very wonderful description from the Gospel of Mark we see about that called young donkey. And today especially this Mass is the youth Mass with all the youngsters. And the Word of God said beautifully, very clearly said, young. And if someone asks, say to them, Master means it. Our life is also very often like the young God. And we know young God, it's not a horse, but a God considers a sign and a symbolic sign of a humble, gentle, perhaps an abandoned animal, a rejected. But our Lord chose to carry. Our Lord chose to enter into Jerusalem through that young God. It has got a lot of spiritual significance. Jerusalem always stands for not only that geographical name or a title of presence of Jerusalem, but Jerusalem always stands for heaven. Psalm 48 we see, glory, Mayoram, that is Jerusalem. And our Lord entered into that Jerusalem. And dear youngsters, we need to be open to the Spirit of God. In many ways, we are all called to carry Jesus like that young God. Christopher, Christ bearer. We are all Christ bearers, though we don't realize it. Every time when we receive the communion, we are carrying the Jesus. Like that young God, very humble. That young God, I'm sure, didn't understand what was happening. Sometimes in our life, things can happen. And due to the shortage of time, I won't be able to reflect the rest of the passages we heard. But one thing I would like to remind the character of Simon of Cyrene. Perhaps he was also a very innocent person. He was coming from the daily fatigue of his day. He was tired, he was coming. But he was forced to carry the cross of our Lord. He didn't want to do that. He was already tired and he didn't want to be part of it. But yet, that became a privilege. Very often in our life, when the Lord calls us, we don't realize it. It's a privilege. There's a Latin called Servire Dei Regnare Est. That means to serve God is something like reigning. Something great. We're all called to live, carry for the greater glory of God. Ad Maiorum Dei He will give us everything. And my dear friends, what I want to precisely share. Be open to the Spirit of God. Don't limit our life. Remember, God alone is the infinite horizon of our life. The more we know Him, the more we give our life to Him, we will experience His presence in our life. And we will experience, and we will have experienced a great joy. And that joy, we are moving towards that joy on the Easter day. When we are celebrating Easter, we need to experience that joy so that we will be able to live with that joy wherever we go. Perhaps during this Mass we can pray for the grace and meditate that in God, and also that in God. And God can use that in God infinitely. Look, that's the story of all the saints. Pope John Paul II lived in a very ordinary family, lived in a very difficult situation. That person became a priest, bishop, cardinal, pope, and great pope. And today we have seen everyone's life. And who is going to raise us? Who is going to guide our life? Jesus alone. And be humble, gentle, and be open to the Spirit of God. During this Mass, we can pray for the grace and be always excited about God's plans in your life. That is the most exciting thing we can all look forward